Dear students of semester 3rd, in my previous class, I already started critical appreciation of the poem The Last Side Together by Robert Browning. Now, I'll discuss the remaining part of that critical appreciation. The rejected lover considers his failure better than success because if he could reach the goal of his life in this world, he would have nothing to look for in the life to come. The poem also illustrates how Browning uses his dramatic monologue as the medium of his philosophy. The rejected lover, in expressing his own ideas, acts as the mouthpiece of Browning. The Last Side Together is an important document of Browning's optimistic philosophy of life. Browning's constant endeavor was to show that it is within the power of man's spirit to pluck the sting out of failure and make of it something better than success, and that the joy of life consists in the pursuit of an ideal and not in the attainment of it. The rejected lover does not at all mind his failure in love, though it means, in effect, the very failure of his life. He consoles himself with the thought that failure is the common lot of man here in this world. No man, no matter whether he is a statesman or a soldier or a poet or a musician or a sculptor, succeeds in achieving what he strives for. What he actually does is almost negligible in comparison with what he fails to do. The rejected lover says, look at the end of work, contrast the petty done, the undone vast. A man cannot translate all his thoughts into action because of his bodily limitations. What act proved all his thoughts had been? What will but failed the fleshly screen? So, failure is a must and should be taken easy. Moreover, efforts count more than success, or worse, heaven's fall. If a man attains his ideal here, he will have nothing to strive for in heaven, with the result that his life in heaven will be a dull and monotonous one. The poem reveals Browning's humanism also. Like a true humanist, Browning regarded life as superior to art. A famous sculptor may carve, after his 20 years ceaseless labor, hard work, a wonderful statue of Venus, but men care more for a rustic girl of flesh and blood who tucks up her clothes and crosses the stream. And that's your Venus when she turned to yonder girl that forced the burn. A poet may write of thrilling ride with one's beloved in the moonlit night, but we care more for the actual ride with our sweetheart than for this love poem. In the poem, Browning, the poet and philosopher, joins hand with Browning, the psychologist. The wonderful example of Browning's psychological insight into the lover's mind is to be found in the line, who knows what the world may end tonight? Every lover who has been jilted by his lady love wishes that the world should be destroyed by some calamity while he is enjoying the company of his beloved for the last time, so that he may be spared the pangs of separation. As Bordeaux has commenced on this line, a line which no poet but Browning ever could have written. The force of the hour, the value of the quintessential moment as factors in the development of the soul have never been set forth, even by Browning, with such startling power. The poem illustrates Browning's conception of love as a spiritualizing and elevating force. The thought that he will be riding with his beloved makes the lover think, so one day more am I defeat? As the lady leaned upon his breast, he felt so etherealized as to lose all carnal desires, till flesh must wait for heaven was there. The Last Side Together, though a representative poem of Browning, is free from the obscurity that was Browning's main characteristic of his poetry. But obscurity here doesn't merge because there is no obscurity. It's very clear, crystal clear, I would rather say. The style is simple but vigorous, and the swing of the meter fits in with thought and emotion. The very motion of the right is captured in the rhythmic beat of the verse. Every line of the poem pulsates with passion or meditation and the dramatic intensity of some of the expressions, especially of the line, "Who knows what the world may deny it?" strikes us with an electric shock. The poem is written in 11 line stanza invented by Browning with the unusual rhyme scheme A B E B B C D D E E C. So, this is the critical appreciation of the poem. Now, students, there are some also important questions regarding this poem, like Browning's optimism, robust optimism, Browning's philosophy of life, like the last side together as a dramatic monologue. It is also a very important question for you. Another question is Browning's philosophy of life. Another question is Browning's philosophy of love. So everything we see that are merged in this poem, like whenever we are dealing with the topic that Browning's philosophy of love or his philosophy of life, we must say that yes, Browning, in almost all of his poems we see there is a robot optimism, Browning's robot optimism, especially in this poetry, that is the last side together. We see that the last side together, though a love poem, is a representative poem of Browning's robust optimism, and also a dramatic monologue. There is a dramatic monologue definitely, and we also see that Browning's view of life as revealed in the last side together, as Browning has often been called the most philosophical of all the dramatic poets, and not without justification. There are indeed many poems of Browning which are predominantly philosophical. In such poems, this last side together is what to say, is renowned. Browning believes in the law of evolution, the subject of perpetual progress of man, and his infinite capacity for improvement forms the backbone of his poetry. His towering optimism hinges on his creed of evolution. The following lines are very important, and these lines are the proof of his robust optimism, like life's probation and earth no goal, the starting point of man. It is from The Ring and the Book, another another book written by Robert Browning, another poem actually. According to Browning, the events of life, that is failures, frustrations, disappointments, etc., are necessary for the perfection and purification of man. And these are these are not the flaws. These are not the what drawbacks of man. Rather, they are the blessings. Failure stains the mind of man and thereby helps in his spiritual development. Hence, man has no reason to mourn his failure. As a critic has said, to show that it is within the power of a man's spirit to pluck the sting out of failure and make it of something better than success. This was Browning's constant endeavor. The deserted lover in the last side together acts as the mouthpiece of Browning. He has failed to win his lady love, but he doesn't mind his failure. He takes his failure as if it is something better than success. He finds that he is not alone to fail in life. Though all men fail, none is crushed beneath the weight of his failure. Thus, the deserted lover expresses Browning's vigorous optimism, his teaching that one must put up with one's failure without whining or whimpering when it is a must. Browning believes that the whole world of life lies not in perfection, but in the efforts to become perfect, not in the accomplishment, but in the efforts to accomplish. The deserted lover expresses these aspects of his creator's view of life when he says, "Who knows what's fit for us? Had fate proposed bliss here should sublimate." So these are the optimism, robust optimism you can see, which pervades the whole poem. So students, with this we have come to the end of the topic. So thank you. And if there is any confusion, if there is any questions, if there is any queries, then do ask me on WhatsApp.